Did you ever get angry with him? Do you have many memories of
Oh
that?
yes, I have many memories of getting angry with him.
Really?
Yes,
Like what kind?
when he was much younger. The only time actually I really gave him a tappu in his head, a rather hard tappu was once I remember there was a Diwali puja at the RK Studios, and we all were there, and then he was up to some mischief with the other, and Pandit was there, and things were happening and haphazard, and then I just happened to give him just one tappu, and he started crying. Actually, that made me feel so bad. That made me feel so bad, and I'm sorry, Ranbir, about that, but I openly say about it. I'm very sorry about it.
And never again?
No, then never. No, अभी तो इनसे डर लगता है.
Is that true? Do you remember that?
I do remember it.
Was he a strict father?
But he wasn't strict. I mean, I think the perception was far more stricter. So if you want a table and if I'm eating food and if I'm not having my vegetables, and he just had to look at me and said, "Move your vegetables," and my tears used to come out because we were just, we were that scared of what
And
he
the
would say.
only vegetables moved under the table, under the plates. He never had those.
Was your relationship with your father different, or was it similar?
No, it was. Yeah. Well, I couldn't converse with him. I don't know why this trait, but he was my father, my guru, everything that meant so. I just much later when I became an actor, and then just before he passed away, we started getting a little friendly. He was very friendly, and he used to say, "Come and have a drink with me," and I used to have a drink with him as well. And then he used to talk about films and all that, Otherwise, we're never really friendly. Like the same story. When we were young, he was working all the time. So, it was like, it's generation to generation, same story. We were with the mother and the fathers were working.
But also this generation is different. I don't think he's ever tongue-tied in front of you, is he?
Well, he's never been out of sorts, I would
Yeah.
say. And he's very respectful, and thank you, Ranbir, for that. And I guess that's what we expect out of you.
I wanted to talk about the parallels in your careers. You were both launched at a relatively young age in a hit film, well, in a romantic film, which was expected to be a big hit. It didn't quite work out in his case. It worked out in your case. What was it like becoming a star when you were so young?
We're talking the year 1973. 73, I was, 21 years of age. And, well, at that point of time, the teenager or a young man didn't have so many opportunities. His exposure was not what today's kids are. And at the age of 21, you hit that kind of a success. I worked in a film called Bobby, and Bobby was a big, successful film at that point of time. And, they were not even leading ladies for me. Even the film industry was not ready for me. I couldn't work with the likes of Hema Malini ji or Rekha or a Zeenat or a Parveen. The only film I could work with was either with Neetu, who became my wife later, or a new girl. So that's why I worked with so many new girls. There had to be a reason and method to that madness. Why was I working with only new girls? So I was boisterous. I was mad. I'd become crazy. A man who was earning 2.5, 3 lakhs rupees per film. 3 lakhs rupees is a lot of money in those days. I had a red sports car, and I was an absolute brat, so to speak.
You were, really?
Yes. And, please have the guts to,
Yeah, admitted now, yeah. Yeah.
Well, then, when with time you mature, you mellow down, you age. I had a rough patch. My films didn't do well. And, you pick up the threads where you actually really want to, and then you really want to work hard, and then you find your own ground. That's what it was. But it's much different now.
No, but I want to talk a little bit about Bobby, because before Bobby came the first chapter of Joker,
Yes.
when you were even younger, right?
Yes.
And by the time Bobby was made, your father was in quite a bad way financially. He'd gambled everything on Joker. Producers were saying this is the end of Raj Kapoor. Distributors were walking away.
True.
RK Studios was mortgaged. And he came back famously with a film starring his son and an unknown girl.
Correct.
Were you conscious of the pressure?
Let's take it by one.
Okay.
Raj Kapoor was in a mess because he was a very passionate filmmaker, and he lost all what he had in his film.
This is Joker.
This is Mera Naam Joker.
Yeah.
And so happened that he had to make a film again. And probably his ego did not allow him to work with the star of that time. I wouldn't like to name the stars, but every famous actor of that time was willing to give an arm and leg to work with Raj Kapoor as a film director. But he chose to make a film with newcomers.
Can I so interrupt you?
Please.
There's a story, you confirm it, that when he made Bobby with two newcomers, Rajesh Khanna and Sharmila Tagore had offered to make the movie with him. Is that true?
We'll check it out.
All right, okay. I'll take that as a yes. Okay. And he said no, and he went with you.
Okay, so Raj Kapoor was inspired by the first chapter of Mera Naam Joker, and he wanted to make a typical love story with teenagers and have teenagers as such a young people as those lovers. Now please understand, Bobby was a female-oriented film. Bobby was Dimple Kapadia in the film, not me. So I got to play the lead by default. So my father did not launch me in the films, so to speak. He just, I was just lucky to ride on the film, and the film was a big box office success. And then that's it.
But no pressure? No sense that this is your father's tough period or anything?
Well, we were so young, we didn't really had nothing to lose. Like Dimple used to say, Dimple used to travel in a Chevrolet in those days. She was an industrialist's daughter.
Right.
So she used to say, okay, if I become a star, I'll buy a Merc. If I don't, I'm still traveling in a Chevrolet. So for her, it didn't make a difference. But for me, it did. It would have. If the film hadn't worked, I don't know which way I would have gone.
Were you surprised when she got married before the release of the film?
Surprised, as in, well...
I'm being discreet, but...
No, well, no, that's okay. Well, yes, she did get married, and we missed her at the time of the film release. But yes, she did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You had a sort of similar, potentially a similar beginning. You were in Savaria, which was much hyped. You had one of the greatest directors of current Bollywood, Sanjay Bhansali, and yet the film was a complete disaster. How did that feel?
Well, we are talking about 2007. I was, I think, 23 or I was 24 when it released.
So much more mature than your father
yes,
in many ways.
Of course.
Yeah?
And of course, you know, coming from a certain generation, we have way more exposure than probably they had.
Yeah.
You know, I've also grown up in a film family. I've seen success, I've seen failure around me. So when Savaria didn't work, of course, you know, you feel gutted that it's your first film, you work so hard. It's your first foray into a profession that you're really passionate about, that you love, and you have failed. But the film has failed. I didn't really take it really badly. I didn't go into depression because I know that I've at least begun, I've taken my first step into something that I love doing. I've taken my first step into acting, which I would like to do for the rest of my life. And I think that's what really made me happy. And it was...
But no self-doubt?
No, nothing. And I think I'm quite detached also that way.
In what way?
As in, I don't think I get affected by success or failure. If a film's successful, I've never really celebrated in my head. I've never felt like a star. I've never felt, you know, like a youth icon or any of these titles that people give you, because I think it's all created. It's just temporary because you're going through a successful patch. At the same time, I've had failures in the form of Savaria and the fame of Rocket Singh Salesman of the Year. Now that's a film that I truly believed in. I love the character. It comes from a world which I can connect with.
Yeah.
It represents my generation, it represents the thoughts and the notions of my generation. But a film like that doesn't work. It kind of confuses you. At the same time, in the same year, a film like Ajab Prem Ki Gazab Kahani works, which is a little more dated, which is, it reaches out more because it's massy, it's commercial. You know, it has songs, it has dances, it celebrates Indian films. So that confuses your notion about which direction to go to. But again, I don't really have a method. I don't really think things through. It's what organically comes out. It's instinctive and it's what you love.
Many people say that you've deliberately chosen different kinds of films. Rocket Singh and the role you played couldn't be more different from, say, Rajniti and the role you played. Was that deliberate or it just happened?
No, I think, you know, I've been in the right place at the right time. I can't take the credit for all this is because even after a debacle like Savaria, such filmmakers, such writers, they offered me such films. I mean, I would only be foolish enough not to take them, you know, because they were characters which I connected with. They were characters which I loved. So there was no plan.
There was no grand
there was
scheme
no, because
that I'll do a comedy,
no,
I'll do a love
because,
story, I'll do a sinister character.
No, I think this just comes naturally. If I like something, I'll instinctively say, yes, you know, I want to be a part of it. So there is no plan, you know, I'm going to do a romantic film now, then I'll do comedy, then I'll do action. I don't think it works that way in my case.
So people come to you with proposals and if you like the film, you just take it?
Yeah.
It was different in your day, wasn't it? There wasn't this huge range of roles you could play.
No, we were all one-dimensional.
Yeah.
In our times, you know, the audiences were very forgiving. Very, very forgiving. At any given point of time, when I say I mean my ilk.
Yeah, sure.
Meri biradari, actron ki biradari. Every actor had 4 films based on Lost and Found. कि बचपन में बिछड़ना और क्लाइमैक्स में जब विलन ने हीरोइंस को बांधा है सब जाके मिलते थे. They were so forgiving, they used to accept it. And these films were important to the actor's career because that was their longevity, for them, for their careers. So, we were in that period where audiences, but today, with the advent of internet, the Twitter, Facebook, knowledge through the television, exposure, the audience cannot take the nonsense of making these kind of films. Odd one, yes, here and there. Ranbir has a tough time choosing his films. At our time, it was very easy, either work in a romantic film or work in that Call of the Day was all the action films. You just had to beat up all the bad people, that's all, in the films, and just dance, that's it. So times are different. I know it's more challenging for him than what it was in mine. So there lies the difference.
Well, I think what I can just add is, I think, we always say it's easier now or harder than or easier now. But actors must have been saturated also, doing the same kind of films. I think today actors are more fearless. They have the opportunity to do different characters. There are no preconceived notions, that I will have a slow motion introduction shot, or I will run around these trees in Ooty and the climax, I'll have blood running down my face. Right. I think now it's more real, it's more relatable. It's things that what films can be made on a conversation between a boy and girl, where he wants to break up and he says that, I want to break up because I think you're a commitment for. And she says, okay, I think we should break up. I think there's a movie right there. Right. I think back then you couldn't do that. There were way more bigger problems, way more social norms and stuff like that to deal with.
And the audience wasn't that sophisticated either.
Right. Exactly. We got one-dimensional roles, and now the audience is more receptive to, doing different kind of cinema. They're receiving this kind of cinema, which is happy. And Veer, I must add this, that I'm not the one who says, कि हमारे ज़माने में अच्छी पिक्चरें बनती थी. I personally feel we're making the best films now. Technologically,
really?
Yeah. We're
Films
making the
today,
best films.
Bollywood makes much better movies than your time?
Perhaps. We have lesser stories to say now. कहानियाँ बहुत कम है. But like Ranbir rightly said, probably make a film on a conversation. Make a film on an incident, an isolated incident. You don't have to have a full story कि यहाँ से शुरू हुई और ये हुआ और यहाँ खत्म हुई. Today, audiences are willing to take that, providing you say it well.
Engaging.
It's engaging, and it's with the advent of good sound and digital, whatever you call it. So I personally feel, yes, I miss the music of my period, the golden period of 60s and 70s. That was real music. I do miss the music now, but I say the films are much better right now.
Much better now.
Yes, at least they are challenging. They're making better films now.
I want to talk to you because both of you grew up as sons of big stars. What was it like for you growing up as a star kid?
We were all normal kids. We went to normal schools with normal friends. We were just...
You were Raj Kapoor's son? How can you be
we were recognized,
kid,
but we didn't take advantage of the situation for the fact that we were Raj Kapoor's sons or children. We had our friends, we had everything. The only perk that we used to have probably was when we grew up a little bit, and then we used to, just look at the waiter and get a better table in a restaurant. That's about it.
But you didn't get to take your friends for shooting and that kind of stuff?
But that's not a perk here.
Of course a perk, yeah.
I own the studio, so I could walk in anytime.
That's right, that's different.
Yeah, so I could go there and see my father work there. I mean, I can't go to the office and see how do you work on your desk?
No, you can't.
Well, I could walk up to my father and see how he works at his desk.
You also had this reputation, correct me if I'm wrong, of being a little pampered when you were young?
Pampered? No.
Well, I'll give you an example. There's a story that you were sent to boarding school at a youngish
You tell
age.
your homework.
Tell the story. What happened?
Well, I was sent to a boarding school. I wasn't sent. I wanted to go because my friends all were in Mayo College. I was in Ajmer. And I was absolutely fascinated by the fact that they played cricket and they played hockey and they played all those games. So I insisted to my parents that I wanted to go as well. So I did. So when I went there for just one term because in those 4 months I lost about 30 odd pounds. So from the chubby kapoor, I became a normal, kid. So when I got back from train from my boarding school, my mother started weeping at the station. She said, "Oh my God, he's lost all that weight," and that's why I wasn't sent back to the boarding. So that's about it.
So you were pampered.
Well, is that pampering?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, I think most of it.
Well, if you call that pampering, then yes, sorry. Yes, I was.
You grew up as a star kid. What was that like?
Well, it was actually quite similar to what his
You were never
growing
that
up years
fat,
was.
yeah?
I wasn't fat. That's the only difference. But yeah, I mean, I don't know any other life. This is the only life I know. I've grown up around films. Yes, in school you get attention because you're a celebrity child. You're famous with the girls, and all of that. But
Not that this matters to you, as you just told us, right?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so yeah, it's been normal. I mean, it's my parents haven't spoiled me. I do value money.
You didn't get more pocket money than the other kids.
No, I actually got lesser than the other kids. My mother was
Is this
really
true?
strict.
Neetu would know, I wouldn't know.
All right.
No, I did.
Yeah.
So yes, I always valued money. I valued the family that I came from. I knew I had a responsibility on my shoulders. It wasn't a pressure. It wasn't like there's a burden on me that I have to behave in a certain way because I come from a certain family. But it was very normal. I've had a very normal childhood.
You didn't. Because I remember when you were 3 years of age, how could you break a 3-year-old? How could he break a refrigerator here?
He broke a
He broke a refrigerator in London, I know that.
You really broke a refrigerator at 3?
I was 3 years old. I don't remember.
Yes, and when he was 4 years old, he made me walk all the way from Soho to go and get him a small guitar in the rain. He said, I wanted a guitar. So he
And
said,
you
"I will
went?"
eat." Yes, and I went in that rain to buy him a guitar.
Sounds pretty pampered to me, yeah? The other interesting thing about you is that when you joined films, rather than being launched by your father as a hero or whatever, you went and worked as an assistant director. You were an assistant director to your father in the film he made in New York. You were an assistant director to Sanjay Bhansali. Why did that happen?
Well, when I was growing up in films, it was always an outside point of view. I was never taken to film set. I didn't know how a film was made. Yes, me and my sister used to eat dinner and watch our parents' movies. But for us, it was entertaining. It was, time was passing. But when I really decided that this is something that I want to do, I thought that, yes, going to a film school, going to an acting institute, these things teach you theory. But being on a film set is where you actually feel a movie. It's where you actually see the world come alive and how the world comes alive. How a director instructs an actor. How does the actor take the instruction? How does he perform? What are takes? What a set director does? What a costume designer does? So I thought this was really important for me to open, the window towards films. Of course, I have an immature dream myself to direct a movie one day, but that again is immature.
Why is it immature? A lot of young people direct movies.
Yeah, I haven't done anything about it. I've been busy as an actor myself, but there is something which I aspire to do one day. I don't want to tell a story, but I want to make a film when I have something to tell. Right now, I really don't have anything to say. There is no story that I really want to relate to an audience.
So even when you were a director, you were conscious you were going to become an actor?
Like I said, I didn't make an effort to make an actor. I think because I was a celebrity child, I think the effort was made for me to be an actor. A lot of people offered, offered movies to me around that period of time. And being, like I said, a star son, so there is already a curiosity about you that, ye band mutti hai, how will he be once he comes into films and he'd be good. There's dearth of actors also constantly. So I think it came to me more than me bringing it to it.
Did you know he was going to be an actor always?
Well, I certainly wanted him to be, but I didn't know that he wanted to be. Then one day, he said to his mother that he wants to be an actor, and I said, then he has got to go to a film school. Because there's no point sending him to a business administration school and then we'll go and become a doctor or an engineer when he knows he's going to join films. And I said to his wife, to his mother, that if he fails as an actor, eventually he's going to do something in films only. Either he'll be a producer, he'll be a director, or he'll be a smart boy. But he's going to be part of films. So there's no point telling him to do any other kind of a course just because if he fails as an actor, he's going to become an engineer. No, that doesn't happen in cinema. It has never happened and it will never happen. Because the passion of the cinema is such that a kid, when he grows in it, he's going to be in that field. For whatever, he may become an editor, he could become a director, but a failed actor is not going to leave. So I knew he's going to, I said, groom him in the same world, let him be in the same. I was lucky enough to be groomed in the University of Raj Kapoor. He had a studio. So when we were kids, we used to go to the sets and hang around and see how makeup is done, how people act, how people react, how lighting is done, how do you take the light. You learn these things. Perhaps Ranbir didn't have that facility. He didn't have that opportunity, I guess. So that's what happened.
You enjoying being an actor?
Oh, I love it. I love what I do, yeah.
What part of the job do you like most?
The working. I mean, no, honestly,
Really, yeah.
I do. Like I said before, I don't really get affected by the perks of what comes with being an actor. But I guess just waking up every morning and then going to a film set, Because it's fun. It's really good. It's a lot of hard work. It's not as glamorous as a lot of people think. I don't think to become an actor, a lot of people have this misconception that if I build a body, if I do horse riding classes, and if I, if I gel my hair back, I can become an actor. I think it's way more than that. It's about the exposure in life that you have. It's about how much you've taken in, how much you can give of yourself, how much you can, it's of course the hard work and passion that everybody is hardworking and passionate. And you have to be a good person. There has to be a likable factor which goes with actors, I think. An audience has to like you. Your films may be bad, but if an audience doesn't like you, I don't think you'll ever be successful as an actor. But yeah, just working every day, waking up, brushing my teeth, going to film set, coming back, eating dinner, going to sleep. That's a perfect life for me.
What about the money?
Money's not some... See, while growing up, I never saw dearth of money. I've grown up in the lap of luxury, so money was never my driving force. It's not that I wanted to, do well in life so I could buy myself a plane or buy myself a big apartment as such. For me, I love films. I want to be part of a lot of films. I want to be the biggest star. At the same time, I want to be the greatest actor.
You do want to be the biggest star? Is that an ambition, a proper ambition?
Absolutely. I mean, I have such achievers in my own family, that to make a name for myself, I have to break benchmarks, what my father has created or what my grandfather has created.
So the money doesn't matter that much, the fame does?
No, the work does.
The work does. And the reputation you have for your work?
Well, that all comes with it, that's like, those are the shavings that come with the truffle, it's
work parallel. What about, since we were mobbed on the way in and after lunch, what about the babe factor?
What about the?
Babe factor.
The babe factor. The babe factor is always good.
Yeah?
Yes, of course. Like my father was mentioning earlier also, if you didn't see it, if it didn't happen, then you would probably start worrying.
Yeah.
Why isn't it happening? I'm young. If girls don't like me, then I don't expect...
Then you're in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you don't get embarrassed by all the female attention?
I don't. I am shy. So sometimes it gets, they compliment you so much, they're so good to you that you turn red.
Yeah.
But it feels great, when you go home and you think about it, it really makes me smile, that people actually love what I do and people love me for what I love.
Sure. Let me just end before we throw it open to the audience with this apparent paradox. I mean, your father noticed it also, that you're shy, etc. But you have this great reputation as a ladies' man. How do you reconcile these two?
I'm 28 today. I'm an actor, but I do have a life of my own, which is apart from movies. And if I'm dating a girl, I'll be quite open about it, that I am dating someone. What happens, I guess I'm in a time in movies right now where most of the superstars are married, and who are not married are seriously dating women who they talk about. I'm single today, so I guess I'm like a bakra. Like every week, if there's nothing to write about, they'll probably link me with a new girl. But it's not that, I just want to clarify that it's nothing like that.
What is nothing like what?
No, I come from a family which which a lot of people respect.
Yeah.
I don't take advantage of that. I don't take advantage of my position myself as an actor. I think I'm sane enough to get married soon in my life. It's not that I only have to marry an actress. But those are the only women I meet in my life.
This is true.
And if I meet a glamorous person, and because I'm known myself, people write about that. But it's an occupational hazard. I just have to learn to live with it.
Do you mind all the controversy and gossip that surrounds your love life?
I used to. I think I mind it when it overrides my work.
Okay.
When, if I'm going to promote a movie and if I'm there to talk about the film, I've spent 1.5 years working hard on this film, and I really want to relate to the audience that, I'm really excited about this movie coming out. But the journalists are just more eager to know where I had dinner last night and all of that.
So
that's
who are you
also-
going out
who
with?
you
Why
going
did
out
you
with?
break
Yeah,
up with so-and-so, that kind of stuff?
You feel bad, but you have to get used to it. You have to take it with a pinch of salt and just let your movie release. And if it does well, then say that, okay, good.